Stugotz, the macro on our story, talking race and politics at ESPN, which is now too woke, even though they've gotten rid of a lot of the too woke people like me and Jamel and Bomani and a whole bunch of others. Inside of what is happening in America as we head to 2024, which has a very dangerous chance of being violent or awful, democracy shaking, whatever you thought the Capitol riots were. Donald Trump yesterday, under federal indictment, multiple federal indictments, a United States president who basically reinvented lean into all your Watergates, have 1,000 of them, and you can shoot someone in Times Square and not lose them as a constituency if you just press hard on the button of, oh, we hate everybody who's not white. Just everybody. And we buy guns and we'll shoot you if you try to take away white power because we're white power. Donald Trump is photographed buying a Glock while under federal indictment. And this is both super, super serious and uproariously funny in its stupidity. Almost the only way to make guns and gun violence be something that's funny is a president not knowing that under federal indictment, you cannot buy a Glock or anything like that, even though you are the reckless and ruthless and ruleless governor of our laws, who now needs, possibly from prison, to run for president and change our laws in order to actually be free going forward, because our systems are falling on him, trying to correct him. And he's got a legion of people who believe in the idea that he was wrongly put out of office, that he won a fair election because he thinks, like Stugotz, if you simply repeat the lie often enough that you believe it, you'll never lose your constituency. They'll be there with you through whatever the shame is. Now you've got, and I want to get to the Glock story in a second because we haven't gotten to it, but one of the things that confuses me here.
You just compared me to Trump.
I mean, you were him before him, dude.
I felt like I caught a stray there.
No, but you were him before him. You talk like him. You act like him. It's like seeing Stugotz for president.
But I'm not him.
I know. Well, he's got the racist and the criminal and the homophobia, and you've only got the criminal.
Oh.
He's got the misogyny, and you've only got the criminal.
Right.
But one of the things that confuses me about this, that I couldn't have seen from any angle, just like I said, Stugotz, if you remember, sure, let him win the Republican debates. That's funny. He's an anarchist. He'll be a content fountain without seeing ever the danger in it. I did not see the danger in it. Tommy Tuberville was a graduate assistant at Miami. He told on this show a wonderful story about driving Jimmy Johnson to the airport from the University of Miami to his Dallas Cowboys job. And he looked in the rearview mirror and Jimmy Johnson was weeping. A hardened man, didn't want to leave Miami, loved Miami that way. Tuberville told the story of a gopher going to fetch Jimmy Johnson and take him to the airport. All of these men having made a ton of money off of the backs of black people in labor, in their sport. Tommy Tuberville, to have him grow up and be this, just like Lou Holtz, when you made your money and fame off of an unjust system that allowed you to manipulate black bodies so that you would get more and more power. For Tommy Tuberville to come out of Miami and become this, I'm disappointed in myself that I'm surprised by this, that I would think that somebody who was in a huddle would appreciate different cultures enough to protect and defend them instead of running on policy platforms that try to undermine them. Like, to me, this is just so basic. I know I'm too woke on this stuff, but all I'm saying to you is, isn't this obvious to everyone? Like, it's black bodies. They weren't paid. They're run by coaches. They're usually white coaches. They're usually Tuberville. They worked for Jimmy Johnson, and they get to where they are, and then they forget it. They forget that their constituency, that all their money has been made on black bodies.
Well, even eliminating that part from his past, I have something that's pretty easy to understand, courtesy of Bloomberg, because this sounds like white supremacy. Right now, Tommy Tuberville is successfully holding up military promotions. This is all in an effort to get the Pentagon to change its abortion policies. And right now, you're seeing a lot of Republican politicians, senators, and representatives do Donald Trump's bidding in terms of government shutdowns, military promotions being on hold because in an upcoming election year, these are all things that would be very useful to the campaign of Donald Trump. And Tommy Tuberville is willing to go along with this, but also it sounds like he has his convictions when it comes to what our military looks like. Here it is, courtesy of Bloomberg TV.
Well, we have a free country. We have things that we need to do to make sure that we can uphold, and we can't do that without a great, hard, strong military. Now, I heard some things that he talked about race and things that he wanted to mix into the military. Let me tell you something. Our military is not an equal opportunity employer. We're looking for the best of best to do whatever. We're not looking for different groups, social justice groups. We don't want to single-handedly destroy our military from within. We all need to be one. It's like a football team I coached. You can't have different groups. Everybody's got to be together to win. There's no second place in war. And so I listened to all these generals and admirals, and we have some great ones. We have some great military people, but there's some in there that have a different agenda to make sure that they get their quotas in. And we're not a quota. This is a military that's...
But when you say race, Senator, can you tell us what you mean by? Are you talking about enhancing diversity at the Pentagon? What is it about race that bothers you about the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs?
Well, he came out and said we need certain groups, more pilots, certain groups to have an opportunity to be pilots. Listen, I want it to be on merit. I want our military to be the best. I want the best people. I don't care who they are, men, women. It doesn't make any difference. Catholics, Protestants. I want everybody to believe in the one goal that we have in this country for our military is to protect the taxpayers, to protect the United States of America. Don't give me this stuff about equal opportunity, because that's not what this military is about.
That's usually what they do. Espouse white supremacy and at the end say something about Protestants. And no, I just want us to be the best of the best. The military, last I checked, is a volunteer service. And also that military is nearly half made up of minorities, people valiantly serving this country that has politicians representing it that espouse these dated and racist views, because that right there is racism.
No, don't worry. We'll take people of all different belief systems, like Catholics or Protestants.
No Muslims, no Jews. That
for the military,
it's amazing.
Where you're offering to serve this country, he wants it to be whiter.
Not just serve, but look, man.
And men.
Okay, this is all obviously poorly coded stuff that used to be blown more subtly with a very, very faint dog whistle. But in order to get the attention of his constituency, he has to do it like that. I will tell you, just so that you're clear on this, just be clear on this part, no matter what he hides in the Bible. That is not a moral man speaking to you. That is a man who has proven again and again empirically to not be very bright. Empirically, doesn't know basic things, but has been a football coach and a leader for so long that he feels entitled to this white power to throw it in your face and remind you that if you threaten it, he will have the best military made up of only people who look like him. I'm telling you that...
Where have we heard that before? I'm struggling.
I'm telling you that man will hide it under morality. He will hide it under lost American principles, under the idea that you can make America great again by believing in his religion, in his power, in his strength, but he's doing it dumber than even the one he caddies for, who's a criminal who is buying a Glock.
To have a country that is being held up right now by the former Auburn football coach with publicly racist beliefs, it shows maybe a flaw in the system, and I'm taking away the word maybe. But yeah, all in servitude of a president whose own spokesperson said he bought a Glock. Now, it's illegal to even receive said weapon when you're under federal indictment, and this led Donald Trump's team scurrying to delete every single one of these posts, but that doesn't change the internet from existing. And several videos of the former president have him saying, "I want the Glock! I want the Glock!" Like, it's like that scene in Horrible Bosses or Role Models where he's like, "Look at me, stealing televisions. Who would have believed it?"
Forgive me here because I've not read all of the details on this story, but a friend of mine did tell me that it had to be a coincidence that either the maker of this gun or the place that he purchased the gun that it was something that was linked to the Jacksonville massacres. I don't know if that's true. I'm saying that
this was in I believe this was in South Carolina, but yeah, it left everybody scurrying to try to scrub this from the internet, because yet it is another example, and there have been like 3 of these in the last week, of Donald Trump just digging a deeper hole for his defense.
And at the beginning, you asked how coaches like Tommy Tuberville, who built their reputations and their success off the back of black bodies and off of people who were, coming in and not having the same power that he did at his organization, how do they forget that they did that? This is not forgetting. This is a obvious representation of those ideals being hammered home. These are the same ideals that this man carried with him as a coach, and he's bringing it to the American government.
Stugotz, this part is fascinating to me. How can it not be headed into 2024? If you ask for equality and threaten white power, this will be the reaction. If you threaten equality to white power, it's going to feel threatened. And when it feels threatened, it's going to include guns and gerrymandering and changing of laws to protect white power. I just can't believe it's the former Auburn coach. Stugotz, you have heard on today's show in general over the last 10 years, you have heard my broadcasting deterioration. You have heard me get old. You have heard and seen me fooled perpetually by the internet. And so these days, when I'm looking for stuff, I never know if it's real or if it's AI. The other day, somebody was taking out a stoop to crawl up the ass of Ferentz's kid, and I didn't know if that was real or if that was altered by artificial intelligence. And so I saw a video making the rounds that I was wondering, can this be real? Is this something that they've done to fake this? Am I being fooled by this? Because you've heard Greg Cody on our show say that when he goes to Benihana, he wants an authentic experience. He's had the controversial take that he doesn't want anybody but someone who is fluent in authentic Asian cuisine to whip up the flamboyance at his table.
It can be anybody, Catholic, Protestant, as long as it's authentic.
And
Jewish.
in that,
Muslim.
I heard music. I heard a Benihana chef not only create one of those wonderful fire volcanoes, but he's not only putting on a show. I envied the Benihana chef because our music, Stugotz, we're competing with Bill Simmons. He works for Spotify. Our music stinks. No.
Oh, I take deep offense. Oh.
It's terrible.
You know what that means, Dan? It's time for Against the Spread. Everyone knows how to play this amazing game. We pick games against the spread, and whoever does the best by the end of the year gets a really special prize. And guess what? We are all doing terrific at this.
When is this prize coming?
It's soon enough. It's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code Dan when you sign up on the app, and a limited time offer for new customers will pop up and populate on your app. It's incredible.
The people need to know that the last time that Mike Ryan and the shipping container conspired to make a public bet, they won a 4-team parlay on Thursday Night Football. Was that against the spread? Or
no,
was that...
you know that was
Thunder.
Thursday Thunder. It's a totally different game. This game is against the spread.
One of the legs in that parlay was Kyle Shanahan calling a play.
Oh.
We took two heavy favorites. We took two heavy favorites.
Come on, guys. The parlay experts here. We nailed it. But that's Thursday Thunder.
Different
this game is against the spread. I'll go first because everyone wants to be a wet blanket when it comes to this. I'm very curious to see if you can find any music better than this because this is incredible. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. Against the spread.
Oh, against the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's against the Dolphins.
What are you
and let me tell you
doing?
what I am doing is
He's
being
picking
a
the Bills.
degenerate because the spots say you bet against the Dolphins. It said that with the Broncos. In fact, if you bet on the Dolphins, you're a bad gambler. You're a bad gambler. Don't come to my watch parties because the spot tells you had to be on the Broncos. That's just the rules.
I made fun of Chris Cody and Stugotz on Sunday. I texted them because I'm like, I know the way you two bet. No way that you trust football to be football and the Broncos to hold close when you think they're going to win by more than a touchdown. Stugotz and Chris, you can take all their money. You say it's the right spot, Mike, but Chris and Stugotz will always take the favorite in that spot, and they pounded the Dolphins.
Yeah, I really like what I saw out of Buffalo the last 2 weeks. Still, Josh Allen turnovers are an issue, but I do think that they've looked way better since their disastrous week 1. And maybe it was a slow start, no preseason, overreactionary. This is a game on the road. This is a division opponent. This is a huge spot for Buffalo to realize, hey, the division still goes through us. And that's my pick on Against the Spread. Take it away, Roy.
All right, the Brewers, they won the division. They got nothing else to play for, and they're playing the Cardinals tonight. So I am taking the Cardinals against the spread.
That's run line in baseball, not money line. Run line.
-1.5.
Run line. All right, Jeremy.
Well, the Carolina Panthers are hosting the Minnesota Vikings this weekend, and you know what that means, Stu? Adam Thielen revenge game.
Ah, yes.
So the Carolina Panthers are 3.5-point underdogs in this game, and I'm going to take them.
Chris Cody.
Mike couldn't be more wrong. Dolphins +3. You're gonna give this team points. You're gonna give this team points. You're gonna give us more points.
Ha!
You guys are betting the
Well, I want to pick the Vikings, but now I can't.
same game, opposite sides?
This is like a competition.
We'll find it. It's a
menu,
competition.
Dan.
We're
It's a
going.
menu.
It's a heads up
Ghost
right
is
now, and
back.
I'm coming for that crown.
All right.
Who's keeping a record of
We're all doing
We're all
very
doing
well.
great,
Yeah.
I'm
At the end of
4-0.
the year, there's a big prize.
Big
Yeah, we're gonna
prize.
answer your
We're
question
all
now.
like right there.
At the end of the year.
We're all lead dogs.
Right.
Billy, take it away.
I'm going to take the New York Jets +10 against the Kansas City Chiefs
Why?
this weekend.
Oh, my gosh. Against the spread. Yeah. All
They're playing
right.
at Sunday Night Football, 8:20 at night
o'clock.
on Sunday night. There's just something there, Dan. It's in New Jersey. Something's just going to click this
It
week.
has all the makings.
Football's going to happen this week, I'm telling you. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but I don't think they're going to lose that game by 10. Trevor Simeon's brought in. He's going to light a fire under Zach Wilson.
Something's gonna click.
Hopefully a literal one.
Something's got to give, and I think that this is the Sunday that something gives.
Something will give and click. Dan, your turn.
Dan, you want to go here?
Your turn.
Let me just explain to you what I'm frustrated by.
Okay.
Thank you, Roy, for allowing it. As we do a sponsored segment of gambling,
Sponsored.
Brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code Dan.
as we do this segment, and I
This isn't
hear-
sponsored. This is a partnership, not a sponsorship. It's a partnership.
Okay, but the part that frustrates me is this: that we are on a gambling channel and network that it takes this stuff very seriously.
Well, it's a content channel that, you know.
What is it? Channel 1146 or
It's
1168?
254 on Roku.
Oh, wow.
Handpicked. Those
It's
channels.
a network that DraftKings is starting with us, and all around us are information betting people who know what they're talking about. And
Did they nail Thursday Thunder?
Exactly.
Did they know Kyle Shanahan was going to call a
Ross
play?
Tucker doesn't know anything.
At all?
I mean,
Whoa.
What?
Oh, my God.
Put it on the poll, Juju,
Really?
at LeBatard Show. Does Ross Tucker know anything? And sign it Chris Cody and make sure everyone knows.
that was Jeremy.
Everyone knows that Chris Cody.
No, it was not.
You know what? He knows how to work on every single network.
Yeah.
He's on every show.
He's a very hustling, entrepreneurial, and knows a lot more football than most of us. However, that has nothing to do with gambling. The part that I just want to address, I must, is how do you imagine the gamblers who are watching this network for information are absorbing us in general when the analysis on that Jets game that Billy just picked as our top insider around here, God bless football, his analysis was, it's in New Jersey.
That's part of it.
It is.
Did
Is
you
it
know
not?
where it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It could have
part of
been in
delivering
Kansas
a
City.
pick. You got to set the scene, Dan.
I mean, I didn't want to bring Taylor Swift into this, but the
Right.
writing into the high of Taylor Swift heading back over to New York, you know that they're going to crash and burn here.
Billy, Trevor Simeon inactive for Sunday's game.
It
Uh-oh.
doesn't matter. The fire has been
Yeah, it
lit.
doesn't prevent him from
sorry.
lighting
Exactly
fires.
right.
I was just pointing it out. That's
Thank
all.
you.
You got it.
Listen to the lead dog.
Thank you.
Dan, you're up.
I'm in first place. Mike can confirm that.
Yep.
Take the Oakland A's to lose by more than one run.
Okay.
Who are they playing?
Who are they
Okay,
playing?
who they-
Minnesota, I think.
Dan, there's people watching this for gambling information.
They're giving away free money over there in Oakland.
You didn't do the thing, though.
I'm not doing the thing.
Let's all sit here.
Official. It's not official.
Let's
The
all
main
just
thing's
do
got to
it.
be the main thing.
Yeah.
Let's all sit here till he does it.
Yep. Waiting.
I really hope the Jets win.
Okay. All right.
Stand
I
off.
see what's.
We got a standoff.
Okay, I'm not doing
We
that.
got a classic
Sit down.
standoff.
Well, it's a sit down. He's sitting down.
Pablo
Pablo Lopez on the
whatsoever.
mound
Who-
for the Twins.
Stugotz, tickle him.
Come here, Dad.
No, to get away from me.
All right, Stugotz, you're next on. Hey,
There's a football game on Thursday night. It's being played in Green Bay, not New Jersey, Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Packers' luck has run out. They had some last week against the Falcons. They came back down 17. They
played the
won
Saints?
that game.
They
My
played
bad.
They played the Saints.
That's a 5.
They didn't have luck against the Falcons.
Their luck has run out.
Luck was in San Francisco.
They are playing Dan Campbell, who is very upset about this game being the only game that's not at Sunday at 1 o'clock, but they will power through it. I am taking the Lions -1.5. They will win by 2 touchdowns, but I take them -1.5 in Green Bay against the spread. Buy it up to 2.
I wanted to leave him alone for that.
Buy it up to 2. It was a bit a cappella. He lost confidence in it. He didn't have the.
He's like, again.
I was waiting for everyone else to come in.
Why did you guys
Ready against.
Hands out like a conductor.
It was actually plotted out like, hey, let's leave him alone this time for against the spread.
Thanks for doing that. Actually, buy it down to -1. My bad.
He was hurt.
No, you go against the spread. You don't buy down the spread.
I do.
He is hurt. He was waiting for you guys to be
Oh.
the wind beneath his wings.
I know. You just left me alone.
What was this Benihana, chef? Can we play
I
this?
think I tickled Dan for you.
I'm getting to that. I didn't want your tickling.
My hand in his
This,
armpit.
this tickled me. Those sausage he poked. I was like being poked with sausages.
Want me to do it again?
No, please don't ever do it again. I got poked with 7 bratwursts. Is what happened under my arm.
Brat.
I want to play the Benihana chef because he made music, and I think it's real. Watch the volcano fire into the sky and then listen for the music.
I like that under Zach Wilson.
That's a spatula and a fork he did that with, and I think it's better than any music we've
I think
played.
that's a toque.
It's a fine.
And a thirk.
I was trying to explain to the audience what it looked like in a word they might understand better than the one I did not know. I don't know what a toque is. A spatula is close enough. They understood what I was saying. It was an unnecessary correction.
It's pretty good. Kid's got a future, but it's no Screwy Lewis.
It is better than any of the music we have played since leaving ESPN, and I want that music to now be the backdrop on some of the things and segments that we do.
I could do this.
Against the spread. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Man,
Is
come
Dan's
on.
pick official?
No, Stugotz, why don't you try saying against the spread
Let's
to
do it
it?
all together.
Okay, all together.
Let's do it. Against the spread.
I have noticed that out of nowhere, these clout chasers, Juju and Tony, who are doing big things on Sunday night on YouTube, right after the games, they are covering football in a way that is lively and has a different flavor than what we do around here. And a genuine elite Hollywood talent looked at our entire group here and said at one point to me, I want to do something around Tony and Juju. So Adam McKay is here. This is not a lie. I don't know why he has chosen you two, but he sees something in you. McKay, you have come on here and you give very dark news as our intern at Meadowlark on horrifying climate stats of the day, but you're a legitimate Hollywood power broker. You executive produced Succession. You did all the good that HBO makes, and I don't know what you see in Tony and Juju, but you see something. So what are you going to build around them? Because they're already here to ask. They weren't even here today. All of a sudden you're here and they pop up in the studio.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I think it's time for Tony and Juju to have their moment. I want long form. I want deep discussions. I want to hear their take on life. And I want to give them the format for that. Usually a talk show, traditional talk shows are like an hour long. I want to give them an hour, 2 hours. I want to go deep into their worlds. I want to hear their reflections on our world. So, yeah, I think it's time for the Tony and Juju show.
All right, so we'll get that under McKay's umbrella. We have signed a deal with him and Hyperobject. It's doing giant things. What can we tell the people, Adam, about what that's going to look like? Because we've made a legitimate Hollywood deal on production with McKay to help us make.
Well, yeah, we're going to make some really cool stuff, hopefully. But we're also, guys, it's a corporate world. It's about profits, shareholder value. So we're also looking at other business opportunities. We're talking with you guys about getting into a chain of urgent care centers, for-profit urgent care centers.
Wait a minute.
I'm in on that. I got a guy.
Wait a minute.
Yes,
no, that's not the business that I want. What?
Well, Dan, I love you, but you're not the best business head. So Skipper and I talked about this, and we got to keep you guys going. We got to keep hockey sticks, my friend. We need all of our graphs to look like hockey sticks.
Yeah!
This is very corporate, though. I'm scared all of a sudden of what's happening to this business relationship. I need to tell the audience, though, Adam, before we create a Tony and Juju show, because this is not a bit, okay? My friend, Adam McKay, he's worried about the earth. He's worried. Look at me, Louie.
Yeah, I was sweaty.
I love this.
It felt creepy. That felt creepy.
I love this man, and I'm worried about him. I'm legitimately worried because he's legitimately worried about the future of Earth. And I don't know what to do about going into business with someone who's descending into craziness because he's worried that a tidal wave is going to hit us, and he's not wrong. So that's where we are.
I mean, he would have been wrong yesterday. Every day's a new day, a new opportunity for a tidal wave to hit us. But so far this week, stellar
We've been
week
good.
for not getting hit by tidal waves.
I think he has great sight and vision. I think he has every idea
Excellent.
that he has is fantastic. Thank you, brother Adam McKay.
But if your sight and vision is bothering you, we have a chain of urgent care centers that you can just stroll on into.
Those are booming right now.
Yep. So,
all right.
We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. The oceans are all burning, and we're all wondering why. Let's turn on the news and find out how we're gonna die.
The last couple of times he's been on with us, he's got to keep himself from crying because some of this stuff, people have asked you, right, Adam, is something the matter with you? They've heard your appearances and your friends are like, are you okay?
Yeah. And, they're not wrong. I think, there's a different kind of attitude we can put on this. And, just because there are climate stats, because I keep wanting to go towards sports stats, which are a lot more fun. But I was like, wait a minute, why can't the climate stats be fun? So I've come up with more of a fun kind of climate stat, and it's a cool one. It's about getting rich, success, the American dream, and I think, but it still relates to climate. So hopefully this is a little more fun for people. And Are you ready?
Yeah, I don't know if I am, but so far the segment has been a failure. We need to raise money for Yellow Dot. He is doing not-for-profit work that's important to get activists and facts out there so that someone is doing something so that we can be less helpless. But go ahead.
So, amount of money, revenue that the fossil fuel industry made all of last year, $4 trillion, which is basically, it's $958 million an hour. And the fossil fuel industry makes more money in less than 2 days than the NFL made in revenue for the entire year last year. So I think that's a little more fun because that's like getting like fancy cars, buying ski chalets, like expensive wine, like kind of more baller stuff.
Yes, that's better. You're improving as a climate intern. We appreciate that there's been improvement every day. It's a hard subject to make funny. Roy, you'll be happy to know, Adam, came in the other day as enraged as I've seen him about anything. I don't know what you can say here about this, but I was crushed like he was because...
Yeah, first of all, I'm very happy about the writer's strike being over, but I'm very unhappy about Winning Time being canceled, especially considering that there was so much more story to tell. Was this cancellation based on viewer numbers, or was it Warner Brothers Discovery's response to the strike?
You know, I don't think it was directly tied to the strike. I think it's numbers. You know, we did well. But there's, you know, always kind of budget versus ratings. I think the transition from HBO Max to Max, I think that news site didn't help. I think it was weird for people to find it. But yeah, like, this is the world we live in. This is why, you know, with our partnership with you guys, with Meadowlark, we got to get those graphs moving up, like lean,
hockey sticks.
Mean. So yeah, we're talking about some really fun stuff, like the oil industry making $4 trillion in revenue last year. That's hockey sticks.
Yes, they are doing well. They're kicking our ass, actually. Hyperobject and Meadowlark need to do better to compete with petroleum and the destruction of the earth. Can you help us?
That is the most sane thing I have ever heard you say.
Thank you.
Dan.
Now let's go conquer, shall we? We need to make more than the fossil fuel industry with this partnership that just rides Tony and Juju into the sky, wherever it goes. Sunday nights, NFL after the game, executive produced by Adam McKay.
2 words.
Yep.
Cartoon musical.
Cartoon musical. That's what we're doing on Sunday night with Adam McKay.
Tony, no, we're not doing a cartoon musical.
Stuff.
The oil strike, though.
He said the tragedies. I don't know about that. Sunday Night Live with Juju and I can be absolutely executive produced by Adam McKay. We can do a lot of fun stuff there.
Okay.
Yeah, and don't laugh at cartoon musical, because we can outsource the animation to someplace like Vietnam or India. All the music can be done by AI. We hire these guys as independent contractors, so the wages are lower. I think this makes a lot of sense.
Wow, we're making big deals.
And if they don't have health insurance, where are they going to go when they get sick?
Urgent care.
That's right.
Yes, that's how you do that.
This is a business model. I like it.
Hockey sticks.
Yeah, speaking my language.
Last thing before you get out of here, the writers' strike. And tell me what you just saw, because our friend Mike Shore led that charge, and it seems like he outsmarted Iger and the rest. It seems like a win from every angle that I can see. Tell me what you just saw.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge. I think for the idea of this town, of the Screen Actors Guild, the Writers Guild, to go on strike for that long, because, we've had strikes before, but they're much shorter. And you're seeing it around the country with the United Auto Workers strike and a bunch of other labor actions. I think people, wages have been flat, going down. Healthcare is worse. Student debt, healthcare debt, all this stuff, how the cost of household goods is sky high. People have had enough. And I think people like to think, oh, big fancy Hollywood writers, but most writers barely make enough to live on. So little Mikey sure did good. He definitely did. But it's also the reason with our partnership, we got to be smart. I mean, I love the shipping container, but Dan, don't ever fool yourself. It's you versus them. You are management, they are employees. And we got to keep that dynamic under control.
I don't like this.
This guy's making sense.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Good talking to you. See you later.